Hello and welcome. I'm Raghav, and today we are going to learn how we can use feeders or how exactly we can refer data from a CSV or a JSON files in our test scripts. And this is going to be very easy and very interesting. You can follow this on Windows or Mac operating system, and you will find all the notes in the description of this video. And if you have not understood or never have worked with feeders, I will try to explain in a very basic step-by-step way. Now, feeders in Gatling are the data sources like any external files, CSV or JSON files, etc., where we can store our data or where we can write our test data, and then we can refer our test data from these files in our test scripts. Let us see a demo on how to use feeders. So I will go to my project, and first I will create a CSV file and I will add some data in that. So this is my IntelliJ, and this is the project we have been creating earlier. So I will go to my src test and I will go to the resources folder. Here I have created a folder called data. So if you want, you can also create a data folder. You can keep a file directly under resources folder, or it's better to create a subfolder here. And now under the data folder, I will right click and create a new file. I will create a CSV file. So I'm calling it as I'll call it as data1.csv, and here CSV is comma separated values. So I will create comma separated values here. So let's just say I have name and let us say job, and I'm giving some dummy data here. Let us say Raghav, teacher, and let us say Henry, and I will say manager. So this is some dummy data here, and now I will have to use this data in my script. So let me first create a script, or I'll just create a class. I will go to my Scala com.gatling.tests. Now I will show you how exactly you can I will show you the syntax for Java and Kotlin as well, but as of now I am creating a Scala class. I will do a right click here, new Scala class, and I will call it as feeder demo. And here there is some error in the package. Let me check this. I will use this. Alright, so the first thing we do in a Gatling script is I will say import io.gatling.core and .predef, so it will get all the classes, everything from core. And now after this I can say this class extends the simulation class of Gatling, and now we can create a Gatling simulation script. So here before I show you the feeders, in any Gatling script we have three sections. We have protocol, then we have scenario, and then we have setup. So as of now I will directly go to a scenario and show you how exactly we can get the data from CSV and print it on the console or the output window, and then I will also show you how to refer the data in an actual request. So I will go to scenario, and first I will say I can say val and give some name feeder equals, and this is a CSV, so I can directly say CSV and give the location of the CSV file. Now if your CSV file is directly under the resources folder, you can just give the file name. In my case it is under data and data1.csv, so I will say data / data1.csv. So this is how we get a CSV file. Now in case you are using a Java class, you can do the same thing using this line or this command. If it is Scala, this is what I have used, and if it is Kotlin, this is what we will be using. You can also see here we have this .random here. This is a feeder strategy. So I will tell you about the feeder strategies. So you can just say dot and give some feeder strategy like random. We have different feeder strategies. We have queue, which is default. That means if you do not mention any strategy, it will be used by default. Now this takes values in order, that is sequentially from the file, and it will throw an error in case the file runs out of lines. I will show you a demo in a moment. So this means that it will keep on getting the data sequentially. That is, first it will take this, then this, and if we still have the next iteration, it will throw an error as it reaches the end of file. Then we have shuffle. It works like queue, but the values are chosen randomly, and it will also throw error if it runs out of lines. Then we have the random feeder strategy. Here it chooses the values randomly from the data source, and then it will not throw the error at the end of line because it can choose several values, multiple values or the same values at the different times. So therefore, even if it reaches the end of file, it can use the same values again randomly, so it will not throw any error. Then we have circular. Now here the values are taken sequentially or in order, and as it reaches the end of file, it circles back to the first line or the first value, and that is why it is called as circular. So let me just use this one. I will say circular here. And now after having the feeder, after getting and declaring the feeder and getting the source, we will now use this in our scenario. So I will say here, I will create a scenario. I will say, well, I can give some name scn. I will say equals to scenario and give some name to my scenario. Let us say this is feeders demo, and then I will say dot feed, this is the function, and then I will call the variable that I have used, that is feeder, that is this one. Now if you want, you can directly call the CSV file or any file that you are using or any data source you are using directly here, something like this. That will also work, but that's fine. We have declared the feeder separately, or we have got the data source, that is CSV file, separately here, and this is what we are using here. Now after this I can create a request, but for now I just want to check that whether I am able to refer the values from the CSV file and print it on the console. So let me just check in Gatling how to print to console, and I will go to this debugging page, and here, yes, we have an example here. I'll just copy this example, and I hope this is a Scala example. You can say Scala, Java, Kotlin as per your language you are using. I'll copy this and just add it here. So this is the exec block, and here we are using the session variable, and using the session variable we can get any data from this session, because now the values or the data from our CSV file is already added to the session by using this dot feed. I can directly refer to the variables. So let us say name, we have name here, and we have job here. I can refer name, and then I will also refer the job, and it is getting printed on the console or the output screen. If I want, I can append something before this just to make it easily readable on the console and easy to search. I will say name colon, and I have used this plus symbol to concatenate or append, and here again I will append this. I will say job colon, and it will print job. Now to run this I will have to add the setup part. So in the setup I will say setup, and I want to run this on scn, that is my scenario name, dot inject, and I will use the strategy at once users. All this we have learned earlier, and I'm running it with a single user. I will run with a single user first, and then if it is successful I will increase the user load. So I will save this, and to run I have to go to the engine class and run the engine class. So I will say run engine, and then I will select this particular simulation script. So this is running the engine class, and here my simulation script, that is feeder demo, is here at line at index position 5. So I will say 5, and I can give some description and run. Now I'm getting an error that there were no requests, and therefore the reports are not generated, which is fine. As of now we just want to check whether we were able to refer the data. So I will search. I'm pressing Ctrl F on my keyboard, and I'm saying name colon, and yes, you can see it is getting me the values name, Raghav, and job, teacher. Now if I call the feed function again, I told you that if we call this first time, I'm not sure if I told you this, but whenever you call the feed function, it goes to the next row or next set of values from the data source. So when you call it first, it has gone to the first set of data. If I call this again dot feed or this feed function, it will go to the next set, which is this. So let me just do this. I will say dot pause. I will add a pause here. for, let's just say, 1 second, and I will call this entire thing starting from .feed. I am copying this entire thing, and in the next line I will just paste it again. So it is again calling the feed function, and if I now save and run the engine, I can directly run the engine from here, from this run button, and then I will select the 5th simulation, which is feeder demo, and this time if I search for name colon, you can see the first time it is going to the first row or first data set, the second time it is going to the second data set. Now what if I will press Alt 4 on my keyboard? What if I call this again? So I'm just calling it one more time. So this is total 3 times I'm calling this. Let us see what happens. I will save and run the engine class, and let us see what happens. I will select 5 here, and now it has executed. If I now again search for name colon, you can see first time it has got the values Raghav teacher, second time Henry manager, and then the third time it again circled back to the first value because this was the last value, so it has circled back to the first value, and that is because we have used the feeder strategy as circular. So I hope now you understand how to use the feeder strategy, and also let me press Alt 1 on my keyboard so that you can see this complete screen. Also we can use repeat instead of calling this again and again. Let us say I will just remove these multiple instances, and here I can say dot repeat. I can call the repeat function, and I can give how many times I want to repeat. Let us say 3 times, and then I will give a curly bracket start and a curly bracket stop at the end here. So that simply means that we are going to repeat this all 3 times. So here let me check what is the error. It is showing me some error. I will check this. This is saying expected the end curly bracket, which is here. So I'll just close this, open again and save. I can also, yeah, I don't need to have a dot now. It is anyways under the repeat block. So now I will save and run the engine class again, and let us see the output this time. I will select the simulation number 5, and this time if I check, I will search for name colon, and you can see still we are able to run 3 times, and here it is every time getting to the next row, and at the end of the line or at the end of the file it is circling back to the first row. So this is how we can use these feeder strategies, and this is working fine. Now let's just say I will use the repeat block only once, or let us say I just don't use the repeat block. Once is as good as not using the repeat block, and here I am increasing the user load or the number of users to 3. So that means 3 users will be running this test, and if I now save this and run the engine class, let us see what happens this time. And I will select the simulation, and if I now search for our values name, you can see still we are running with all this. So that means every user is taking a new set here, and we are running it with 3 users. So this is the data for first user, the data for second user, and then again the third time it is circling back to the first row. So we can also do it like this. Now let us see how exactly we can use it in a actual request. So if we are using it in an actual request, we will be using it in this syntax. We will say hash, and then within curly brackets we will give the column name or the variable name. Let me show you an example. Let's just say I want to go to this computer database website and check the home page and see how exactly it performs in a performance test. So the first thing I will have to do is I will have to, because this is HTTP request, I will have to first import io.gatling.http so that I get all its functions and classes. And now I will first create a protocol. I will say, well, I will give the name, let us say HTTP protocol, and I will say equals HTTP dot, I will use the base URL, and the base URL I am going to use is this one. This is the base URL, and we can also add all the headers, all the common headers and all the common protocol. We have seen this earlier, but as of now I am just using the base URL here. Now in the scenario, I will say, let us say after pause, I will again create a exec block, and here I will say HTTP and give the name of the request. I will say go to page or go to home page, and here I will say dot get, and I will go to the, let us say, the computers page here. So that means this is our base URL. So this is base URL, and then it will go to the computers page. That means it will go to this complete URL. So let's just check. I'm running it with 3 users, and if I now save, sorry, there is also one more thing I have to do. I will stop the engine and I will go back. So we also have to add the protocol here in the setup. So I will say protocols, and I will call the HTTP protocol that we have declared here. So now I will save and run the engine class, and this time we should also get the reports generated because we are running our actual request, HTTP request. So I will again select the simulation number 5, and let us see what happens this time. And yes, we are getting the report as well. Everything is passed. I will copy and go to this report. So I'll just go to a new tab and go to this report, and you can see everything is fine. If I go to the details, this is running fine. You can see go to home page, and we can see it is running 3 times because we are using 3 users. Now let's just say I'll go back. Let's just say I want to get the data, get this data, computers or the page name from our CSV file. So let me just create one more column here, page, and I will say computers, and I want to go to one more page. So this is computers here. This is where I will go, and if I click on add new computer, this is the location or the name of the new computers page. I will also take this and I will add it here in the second set of data. I am saying computers / new, and this I will refer in my script. So here I can say hash, and within curly brackets I will say page. So that means this will refer to this page and get this data from there. So I will save, and let us see what happens this time. I will run. I will save and run the engine class, and here let me just stop this and go back. I also, just to check, I can also print this on the screen as well, on the console output. So I will say here page and give the variable page here, and this is also getting referred here as well. So I will now save this class and run the engine class, and here I will select the simulation number 5 and run it. And if I now check the report, so before checking the report, let me also search for page colon, and you can see first time it got this value computers, then it got computers new, and the third time it again got the first value, that is computers. If I check the report, now this looks fine. You can see it is running with 2 pages, and if I see the details here also, I can see, although you can see the name is still go to home page. The reason is that is something we have hard coded in our script. So if I go to my script again, you can see this is something we have hard coded. So let me just say, let me also take this from our CSV file. I will say here hash, so the name will also get changed on the report, and I will say page, and I will save and run, and I will select the simulation here, simulation 5, and let us now check the report. So this has executed. I will copy the report address from here and open it in a browser, and if I check now here, although it is not referring to the pages as of now, let me check again. Yeah, as of now it is just saying hash page. I will again check this. I will go back, and this looks okay to me. If it is able to refer here, I'll just check if it can refer like this, or maybe with a dollar symbol. So I'm saving and running it again. And if this is executed, if I check here, so here it's fine, it is referring to all this is fine. If I check the report, now this is my report. I'll copy and paste it, and here, yes, you can now see it is getting referred. So in the request, in this report, you can see go to computers and go to computers new. Also, if I go to the details, here you can see 2 pages, go to computers and go to computers new. This is for redirection. In case your website or page has redirection, that will also get here, but this is what we are now getting, 2 pages, and also we are able to get the names in the reports as well. So let me just go back and see, this is my complete file script. So this is how I am using this, and this is the syntax. We have already seen this. So this is how we can use feeders and we can get data from the feeders. Now some important notes: if we use, whenever we call the feed function, it will go to the next row of the CSV file. This I have already shown you. Whenever I call the feed function, it goes to the next line, and if the strategy is random or circular, it will recycle and no error will be thrown. So we have already seen these 2 strategies, and then we can also increase user load, and then users will use multiple data from the CSV file also, and this we have checked. We have ran with 3 users here, so you can see they are all getting different sets of data from the CSV file, and we have also checked and used the repeat function. So this is how we can use feeders and use data from data sources. I hope this was very useful for you. Please do some more hands-on, and I will see you in the next session. Thank you for watching, and never stop learning.